What's going on, guys? It's Clutch Hoops here, and the NBA draft is over 100 days away, but since the NBA is currently at the All-Star break, today would be a perfect time to make the very first Clutch Hoops 2020 NBA mock draft. I've been doing tons of research for the past month on all these different draft prospects, and now have begun to get a feel for who they are as players and how their game will translate to the NBA as of right now. Even though there are many critiques about this draft class, there's still a lot of talented prospects who will be stars in the NBA for decades. The weird thing about this year's draft is that the teams sitting at the top, like the Warriors, Hawks, and Timberwolves, aren't necessarily in the market for developing young players and would prefer older and more polished prospects ready to win now. To make the draft order in this video, we are going to be using the 14 worst teams in the NBA right now by win percentage, and there will be no trades in this mock draft because it's too hard to predict and everything. Before we get into it though, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel because we're so close to 1,000 subscribers actually, and I would really appreciate it if we could get there. So with those things out of the way, let's get right into our first NBA mock draft. Number 1, the Golden State Warriors select James Wiseman. If the Warriors are picking a prospect in this year's draft, it will be James Wiseman. James Wiseman is a 7'1" center with a 7'6" wingspan and a great amount of athleticism. His physical attributes line up exactly with where Joel Embiid was when he was in college, which is one reason he's so loved among NBA scouts. The Warriors have been itching to get a center this season after trading Willie Cauley-Stein, and were really trying to get Mitchell Robinson from the Knicks in a D'Angelo Russell trade. Mitchell Robinson and James Wiseman have very similar games, and explains why the Warriors will probably pick Wiseman. The Warriors starting lineup of Steph, Clay, Wiggins, and Draymond is set right now, and adding a player at one of those 4 positions in the draft would be stupid. Also, James Wiseman will immediately make a huge impact on the Warriors' overall defense, especially on the interior. In college, he averaged 5 blocks per 36 minutes, and coming into the NBA, don't be surprised if he is one of the best shot blockers immediately. Even though there are a lot of holes in his game, and he's definitely not the best player in this draft, he will excel with the Warriors. It's hard to say if the Warriors will actually use their pick or not, or trade it for a superstar, but with the defensive front court of Wiseman and Draymond alongside Clay and Steph, the Warriors will be right back in championship contention. Number 2, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Lamelo Ball. The Cavs are in a situation where they have 2 great big men in Andre Drummond and Kevin Love, but no playmakers to get them easy buckets. Garland has not panned out all that well thus far, and Sexton has been available in trades for a very long time now, so the Cavs backcourt is nowhere near solidified. In LaMelo Ball, the Cavs get the best passer, playmaker, and talent in the draft class to help get the big men involved. Darius Garland is not the best and most polished offensive leader, as he averages 4 assists per game with 3 turnovers per game, so LaMelo Ball would be better off to take over this offense. LaMelo Ball won the Rookie of the Year award in Australia, and in his final 4 games looked like the best player in the entire league, as he averaged 24 points and 10 assists per game on 45% from the field. Overall, LaMelo has been the alpha dog on his team for his entire life, and will take on the same role as he will try to lead the Cavs to the playoffs in his first season. Number 3, the Atlanta Hawks select Anthony Edwards. This may be one of the best situations for Anthony Edwards and the Atlanta Hawks. Anthony Edwards has grown up in Georgia his entire life, and now will have the chance to stay in his hometown and play alongside Trae Young, John Collins, and Clint Capella. Anthony Edwards is a frustrating prospect because he is a 6'5", 225-pound guard who is faster, stronger, more explosive, and a better shooter than everyone else on the floor at all times. With that said, he doesn't always put in his entire effort and will disappear completely in games. In his defense though, all the defensive focus goes towards him because if teams are able to shut him down, then Georgia has no chance to win the game. Since this is the main critique on him, you guys can probably tell that he has serious potential to be a star player. Atlanta will be best for his game because he will be able to play with stars who attract a ton of defensive attention, which will allow him to take on one defender with little help. The Hawks would now have their core 4 set with Trae Young, Anthony Edwards, John Collins, and Clint Capella, along with Kevin Huerter, Cam Reddish, and DeAndre Hunter to complement them or use to trade for a high salary star. With this addition right here, the Hawks may be the next homegrown super team and take the NBA by storm. No, that is not an overreaction. They're actually getting really scary. Number 4, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Obi Toppin. The Timberwolves are in desperate need for a power forward, and Obi Toppin fits the perfect mold. He can shoot three-pointers, crash the boards, block shots on the interior, and much more. Cat has been awful on defense this season, and Obi will hopefully make up for some of the loss. This season at Dayton, Obi has averaged 20 points and 8 rebounds and has proved himself as one of the most bust-proof prospects. There is no doubt his game will translate to the NBA, and the Timberwolves will add a 22-year-old who fits the age and development of Cat and D'Lo. The Timberwolves have never had a true power forward next to Cat, which may be the missing piece the Wolves need to make the playoffs. NBA scouts have been scared of his age, which blinds them of the extreme amounts of talent he has, so expect him to rise on the draft boards. Number 5. The New York Knicks select Cole Anthony. One of my favorite prospects of the entire draft class is the North Carolina product Cole Anthony. Cole has averaged 19 points and 3.5 assists this season, but on 35% from the field with 3 turnovers per game. Cole has been put into one of the worst situations in North Carolina, with teammates who don't fit his game whatsoever, clog the paint, and rely on Cole to bail them out way too much. Similar to Anthony Edwards, he's had top defenses in the ACC focus all their attention on him, but he has still stayed aggressive. Obviously, these numbers aren't the best, but when he's played with and against the best players in his draft class, he has dominated. In the McDonald's All-American game, he won the MVP with 14 points and 7 assists in 21 minutes, and in the Nike Hoop Summit game, he had 25 points and 8 assists. He is much more efficient playing with players who make shots and give him space to facilitate, which will translate to the next level. His toughness during these rough times are extremely telling of the type of player he is. The Knicks could really use a leader at the point guard position who can make shots and facilitate for the people around them. Cole has star player written all over him, and the Knicks have been very desperate for someone to take them to the playoffs. He grew up in New York City and his dad played for the Knicks, so it would only be right for Cole to be the Knicks' savior. Number 6. The Pistons select Killian Hayes. This is the first curveball, and you may not know much about Killian Hayes, but you need to start to get to know him. He is 18 years old playing professional basketball in France, where he averages 13 points and 6 assists in 26 minutes per game. To put this into perspective, another top point guard prospect in France, Frank Ntilikina, averaged 5 points and 1 assist before being drafted 9th overall by the New York Knicks in the draft. Killian is a 6'5" point guard who will have no trouble defending the top guards in the NBA, and his offensive game is very developed already and still has a ton of potential to grow. However, with that said, there are questions about his consistency and defensive intensity at times. These are substantial concerns, which is why he's one of the biggest projects in the entire draft. The Pistons just began the rebuild and have all the time in the world to develop Killian Hayes into their future star point guard. He's one of the quieter prospects as of right now, but as long as he gets drafted to a place where he can develop, he will be a good/great NBA player. Number 7. The Charlotte Hornets take Onyeka Okongwu. The Hornets have a great backcourt right now and need to look to add some depth to their front court in this draft. This is exactly what they're getting with Onyeka, as he is the best two-way player in all of college basketball. He's a 6'9", 245-pound center/power forward out of USC with some of the best shot blocking and defensive instincts in the entire draft. He's played amazing at USC this season, as he's averaged 16 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game. He has a great post-up game as he can punish defenders and draw fouls with ease, as he averages about 5 free throws per game. With the NBA evolving into a heavy pick-and-roll game, Onyeka can set hard screens and roll to the basket with exuberant amounts of force. On top of this, he has great hands and will catch anything that is thrown his way. Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier could really use some help in the pick-and-roll game, as Cody Zeller does not seem like the long-term answer. The backcourt will love playing with Onyeka, and the Hornets will finally have the center position under control for once. Number 8. The Chicago Bulls select Tyrese Halliburton. The 6'5" point guard out of Iowa State has seen his draft stock skyrocket this season, where he's averaged 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists on 50% from the field and 42% from three-point range. He is a sophomore with a very awkward and slow shooting form, so that is the main reason he fell to the Bulls in this mock draft. The Bulls have a ton of talent on their team, but don't have a point guard who can come in and facilitate the offense. Halliburton will come in and do just that, as he projects to be the guy that brings everyone together with his passing and defense. His shot is obviously a question, but he has shown that when he has time, he can make threes at an elite rate. The Bulls are in dire need of a point guard to get the best out of Levine, Markkanen, and Wendell Carter, so Halliburton is a no-brainer at number 8. Number 9. The Washington Wizards select Denny at VG. The Wizards extended Bradley Beal and John Wall is coming back from injury next season, which makes it seem like they're trying to win now. Whether this is the case or not, Denny is the player who the Wizards should select at the 9th overall pick. He's a 6'9" small forward who plays well facilitating for the players around him. His shot will translate to the next level, and playing in Spain this season, he has been able to improve playing off the ball. He also has used his length and strength to defend at a high level in the EuroLeague, which will be one of his strengths coming into the NBA. He won't blow anyone away with his intangibles, but like Obi Toppin, he is very bust resistant. Number 10. The Sacramento Kings select Isaac O. From this pick on, there are a lot of different prospects who can be picked, but the Kings have their backcourt set, and the only positions they are in need of are small forwards and centers. Isaac is already an elite defender and will be one of the top defenders in the entire NBA. His offensive game is still a work in progress, but he already uses his athleticism to get to the rim with ease. His stock is on the rise as he's been able to put out better offensive performances, which makes him a very intriguing prospect. Number 11. The Phoenix Suns select Nico Mannion. I'm sorry, but Ricky Rubio isn't the long-term option at the point guard position, and taking the athletic freak out of Arizona would be a great pick. Yes, he's had his struggles this season, but his passing and leadership has been incredible. Playing next to Devin Booker, he won't need to create his own shots, which is one of the main weaknesses of his game. The fit in Phoenix is pretty great and seems like a no-brainer pick right here. Number 12. The Pelicans select Vernon Carey. The Pelicans' only need right now is a center, and here they get one of the best freshman scoring centers in all of college basketball. Vernon Carey is the best center available, and the Pelicans would probably be able to trade down a bit if they wanted to take him. Number 13. The Spurs select Jaden McDaniels. This is the ultimate San Antonio Spurs pick, as Jaden has all the physical tools to be a superstar in the NBA, but has not developed well at all. He will be overdrafted because of his 6'10" size and lankiness, but if anyone could create a star out of him, it's the San Antonio Spurs. I know they could work some magic on him and make him a future NBA star. Number 14. The Blazers select Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese is one of the best scorers in this draft class and resembles a bit of Donovan Mitchell. He is a hit or miss prospect in my eyes, and the Blazers could use some immediate help to their roster. This is the very first Clutch Hoops mock draft, and there will be many more in the future. Tell me if you like this mock draft and if there are any other picks or players you would like to see in different places. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and now I'm out, and peace!